Hello everyone, I welcome to you in the Footwear Computer-Aided Design classes. Today I came to you with the very special or essential class. In this class we will learn about the footwear material consumption, calculation and its costing with the help of the Procost software. First of all, we have to develop patterns of the specified models as like a sport shoe upper and lining patterns with the help of the dimensions of the Procost software. And then we have to export all these patterns in the SVG format anywhere into the PC. So let's have a look. As you can see into the screen that this is the sport shoe which we have already designed in the previous sessions of the pattern design and its development. Now you can see that first of all we have to export these patterns in SVG format because Procost software will analyze only the SVG format. So first of all we have to export all these patterns into the SVG format. As you can see into the screen, there is the icon as like export the XTV styles. So we have to left click over there and we have to select the SVG to Geo format and then OK. Now we have to select the storage area as like a desktop and then save it. Now you can see that into the desktop sport shoe upper patterns has successfully exported. As you can see into the properties SVG files. In the same way we have to export the lining patterns of the sport shoes. With the same process we have to select the SVG format and then OK. Now we have to select the desktop and save it. Now you can see that successfully both sport shoe upper and lining patterns has been completely exported. Next very important process is that we have to open the Procost software by double left click on the icon. New dialog box will appear in front of you. So first of all you have to decide your language, whatever is comfortable as like English and then OK. Now the user interface of the Procost software will appear in front of you. So very first off we have to create the new styles. So first of all we have to create the new style. Now you can see that very essential requirements so you have to fulfill into this all these boxes. First of all you have to write the styles of your articles as like a sport shoe upper, and then you have to write the basic essential sizes, whatever sizes you want as like a 8 size, and after fulfilling you can give the essential requirement as a designer Mr. Footwear, and then you have to load the patterns wherever we have earlier saved into the desktop. So we have to take that patterns and we have to import it. First of all sport shoe upper pattern and then open it. Now very important dialog box will appear in front of you. You have to decide the consumption of materials, how many pairs consumption you need it. If you want consumption of your one pair, so you have to fulfill the requirement as like left hand foot one and right hand side one. Footwear actually in one pair is there two footwear, one is left and one is right. So you have to fulfill the if you want one pair's consumption and calculation, material consumption and calculation, so you have to enter here 1. If you want 2 pairs or 1000 pairs, you have to enter the 1000 as per your requirement. So as a demonstration I will show you the calculation and the consumption of the materials for one pair of shoes. So now what we have to do, in the tongue we have to take 2 patterns, 2, and then we have to, after the fulfilling of this the requirement of this table, we have to go to the OK. Now the size type of this style is English. Okay, now you can see that the patterns has been completely loaded into the Procost software. After the loading of the patterns, you can see here all the patterns is showing, and then you have to go to the OK. So now we can see that the sport shoes has been completely loaded. As we can see here, styles. In the style we can see here sport shoe upper patterns has been loaded. As you can see here, it's showing here. Next very important things is that you have to create the material database. To create the material database, we have to come to this view for icons, and we have to select the material database. After the selection of this material database, so we have to decide the types of material as like a leather, synthetic or textile, whatever materials we are going to use into our styles, models of design. So we have to select it here. We are selecting leather as for the upper patterns. Now we have to give the name material sport shoe upper, and the description is the leather, new buck leather. And then material type is leather. Now very important things we have to fill here is like a unit price. Whatever materials you are going to use into your articles, you have to mention here the unit price. As like a 90 rupees is the unit price, so we have to enter here 90 rupees. And 90 rupees square feet or square centimeter or square decimeter, whatever is the unit of the price, you have to select over here. So square feet we are selecting here. Now that you have to select the method of calculation, ALP, and the wastage, what is the minimum probability of the wastages, you have to mention over here as like a 10%, so we have to enter here. Trimming, whatever trimming you are going to use, you have to mention here. And the skin size, what is the size of your leather, whatever going to decide. So as like the sizes of our leather is the 9 square feet, so we have to enter here 9, and we have to mention here square feet. Next, what should be the gap between the two patterns? So should be 1 mm, and after that you have to fill the essential and required boxes. What is the currency? Whatever currency you are going to use, you have to fulfill here as like say Indian rupees or dollars or euro, whatever is currency of your country, you have to select over there. After the selection of currency, you have to choose the color, whatever colors you are going to use to design your articles. As like I am going to use brown and white color. And then you have to select the shelf as like a S, and whatever is the supplier name, you can put here your supplier name of your company and the remarks and the supplier details, all the other things you can fulfill over here. After the filling all these details, next very important operation is that we have to save this, publish the changes. Now we can see that changes has been published completely. Next very important things is that we have to select the lining material. So there is two types of lining material, is like a roll material or sheet material. So you have to decide over here as like a roll material. And synthetic, you have to select the calculation method as any ATX or whatever TXL. And what should be the gap of wastage between the patterns? You have to enter here 3 mm and other details, so you can fulfill over here. What is the currency? Indian rupees. You have to select, and here material. After the filling this essential columns, we have to update this material. It's like a material publish. A lot of this is the classes for beginner series, so we are telling you about the essential and the required basic needs. If you will go to the further process, you can, according to your company or industry requirement, you can fulfill the requirement boxes. And then after completion of all these details, we have to publish the changes. Next, very important, after the creation of the material database, very important things is that we have to go to the view and styles. Now next very important steps is that for the sport shoe upper leather, see, in the same process we can create for the lining also. So we have to go to the new style, we have to load for the lining patterns. So we have to select here sport shoe lining, and the basic sizes for the calculation, and the style code and the descriptions you can fill. And after that, designer's name you have to insert over here. After the completion of these things, we have to load the patterns wherever you have already saved as a sport shoe lining, and then open. Now you have to fulfill the how many pairs, consumption, material calculation and its consumption, number of pairs, so you can mention over here as I already described you. So now okay, and then again we have to okay. Now you can see that the sport shoe lining patterns has also been successfully loaded into the Procost software. So next very important things is that we have to come here variants, we have to create variant wizard. Now you have to select here, you can hash double left click here, and you have to mention here the types of material like this. Similarly we have to sport shoe upper, this is the counter pattern. So whatever color you are going to use, you have to select here color as like a brown or white color. We are going to use as a brown color for the counter portions. We have to mention here brown, and similarly we have to choose over here. Next we are going to use the white strap for the sport shoe, so we have to mention here white. Similarly we have to repeat all the process. And now this is the quarter outside patterns, so we have to select here whatever the color is brown color we are going to use, and white strap. So we have to select all these patterns simultaneously. So now we are going to use the tongue as a brown color, and it should also be the brown color. After filling this all the details, we have to go to the further process to apply. Now you have to give a sport shoe upper, so you can write here upper and then okay. Now we can see that the variants has been completely successfully edited. After that, next very important operation is that you have to select this pattern and we have to calculate it. Similarly, sport shoe upper here is showing cross section, means it's not successfully upload it, so we have to go to the publish change. After that, we have to come to this upper, right click over there, and then you have to go to the calculation. After the completion of the calculation successfully, now you can generate the report. So you have to a lot of multiple types of significant reports has been showing into the screen, as like a report calculation details, report cutting allowances, report cutting time, report material consumption, report material consumption pair, material list. So whatever reports you want to generate, you can select from here and then you can report. So as we can see, we can report the calculation details or consumption of material. So we have to select that things. After the selections, after a few seconds, the report will be successfully will generate, and then you can go for the further process of this. As you can see here, the reports has been completely and successfully generated. Here, number of consumptions, total consumptions of the leather will be for upper sports shoe upper leather 1.67 square feet will be the total consumption for the upper leather of one pair of shoes. So this is the consumption of material. As you can easily and successfully consumption of leather has been calculated. Similarly, if you want to calculate for the sports shoe line, we have to repeat the process for that, and then we can see here pattern here. So we have to create the variant. Now we have to select the material types. So as a raw material is here, we have double left click over here, and color you can mention here as like a brown. So you have to fulfill all the details. After fulfilling all these variant of the materials, then we have to apply it and give the name as a lining, and then OK. Now we can see that the material specification we have added it successfully. After that, very important things is that we have to publish the changes. After the publishing, we have to come to the pattern and we have to calculate it. But let me tell you about the very important things for the synthetic materials. You must have to specify the angles of the material, otherwise it will not be successfully, reports will not be generated. So as you can see here, first of all you have to double left click over there, and then you have to calculation method, you have to select as a TXL. After the selection of the calculation method, now you have to select the angles of the material. You come to this grid, you have to left click over there, and now you have to left click, hold and drag and drop. After the adjustment of the angles, you have to load it. So you come to here, as you can see here, calculation methods. First of all, you have to load it, and then you have to calculate it. Now you can see that the completely and successfully the angles of the materials has been specified. So similarly, we have to repeat the process for all the patterns. So now we have to select the inside quarter pattern. After the selection, we have to go to the grid, and then we have to calculate it. Now we can see that it automatically has been adjusted. Next we have to go to the save, yes. So next pattern automatically will generate. We have to select the calculation method TXL. After the selection of the calculation method, we have to adjust the angles. We have to see that whether this angle is suitable or not. As per your requirement, minimum wastage of the materials, you have to adjust the angle, left click, drag and drop it, and adjust like this material angle. After the adjustment, you have to load it and then calculate it. Now we have to go to the next patterns. Similarly, we have to repeat the process. This is called the toe cap lining. Similarly, we have to select the calculation method, the XL. Now we have to adjust the angle by clicking left and drag, by holding left click and drag, and after that release, after the adjustment of the angles. Now you have to load it and then calculate it. Now similarly, you have to come to this quarter pattern. You have to adjust the calculation method, the XL, and we have to adjust the angles by pressing left click, continue, hold the left click and drag. After the adjustment of the angles, then you have to drop it. Next very important things is that you have to load the patterns and you have to calculate it. After the completion of all these things, you have to finish. Now we can see that we have completely and successfully adjusted the angles of the synthetic materials. And then very important things is that we have to generate the reports for these materials. After that, we have to go to the sports shoe lining, right click and publish the changes. Similarly, we have to go to the patterns and we have to calculate. After the calculations of all these things, next very important things is that we can generate the reports for all these things. Now we can see that completely and successfully we have calculated and readjusted the angles of the lining or synthetic materials. Next very important part is that we have to generate the reports. So we have to right click. After clicking right, we have to go to the report, as you can see over here, and then report overview. Now you can see the report has been successfully generated. I hope that this class will be very much helpful for you. You can calculate the multiple reports in a very easy and successful method. You come to the upper, right click, report, and you can see that multiple types of reports is available here. Whatever reports your company or industry demanding, you can generate it easily. If you want, save it into the different formats, so you can save it and you can take the printout either directly. You can take the print of this report, or you can export this report in various format. As like you can see here, you can export all these reports in various format, as like PDF format or document format or CSV, or many types of formats is available. So you can export it. Suppose we have selected the PDF format, and after the selection we can select the storage area as a desktop and then save it. Now you can see that it has been successfully, as you can see here, your reports, sport shoe upper patterns has been successfully generated, and it has been exported also. So with the help of this software, likewise you can accomplish in a short period of time. You can accomplish and you can create a very complicated types of report. Thank you for this class. After the generating of your reports, if you want save it into the different formats, so you can save it and you can take the printout. Either directly you can take the print of this report, or you can export this report in various format. As like you can see here, you can export all these reports in various format, as like a PDF format or document format or CSV, or many types of formats is available. So you can export it. Suppose we have selected the PDF format, and after the selection we can select the storage area as a desktop and then save it. Now you can see that it has been successfully as you can see here, your reports sport shoe upper patterns has been successfully generated, and it has been exported also. So with the help of this software, likewise you can accomplish in a short period of time, you can accomplish and you can create a very complicated types of report. Thank you for this class.